YouTubers! Mike Martin's here. Mike Martin's channel. Today is the 1st of July, aka 2nd of July for most of the world. Broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. Happy Canada Day to everybody. 1st of July is Canada Day. I want to wish everybody true north, strong and free. God, keep our land glorious and free. Probably just flagged my video for saying God. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Comment section will get rolling soon. And very excited, very excited with this housing week going on here. It's got to be Mike in the Night tonight, guys. Housing talk, Mike in the Night. On this 1st of July holiday and 4th of July weekend holiday coming in the United States of America, just a few days down the road. I got my lemon water, alkalinized my water, and the one has commented, comment section is rolling. When do you think the crash will happen? I need to know what country you're in, and I could forecast what I think is going to happen. Remember, guys, this is only my opinion, and you do your own research, guys, because you don't want to take advice from a guy that can't even read. Believe me. You kind of want to do your own research, kind of want to look at what's going on. Toronto, Canada, well, we're talking about Toronto, Canada right now, sweetheart. So sit tight. Let's take a look at what's going on. So we're going to look at the Better Dwellings top stories, which are on fire right now on social media. Get myself ready here. Mike in the Night. I hope everyone's ready for this show tonight. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. This week's top story is unpacking WTF. Can't say that on air. What was going on with Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers and the industry lower sales forecasts. Woo! Okay. Someone says, I want to start a small business selling Android boxes and IPTV. Do it! You're better off doing something small business because everything you put into your small business, you always get back. Believe me, I've been in small business. Watch my series on my YouTube channel, Building a Retail Store from Scratch. Watch my YouTube series, Building a Home Business from Scratch. Whatever you put in, you always get back out. Believe me in this one. Anyways, WTF is going on with Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers and the industry lowers its sales forecast. And I was in Toronto a few weeks ago. And the condo development there. It's I don't even know how to explain to the condo development. The enormous amount of people going into the city on a daily basis because they had to leave the city because they couldn't afford to live in the city. The 400 series highways is an absolute nightmare. Big streets like Eglinton, Steeles, Renfrew, like big streets. Not Renfrew, that's in Vancouver. Big streets. It's so plugged. Dufferin, Eglinton, all those big arteries that get you to Yonge Street, that gets you into the downtown core, is a nightmare. In Spanish, it's pesadilla. Es un pesadilla bien grande. It's a big nightmare. Okay? Today's Spanish word, guys, is pesadilla. Pesadilla, nightmare. Then the one says, in the comment section, by the way, they need to open the Greenbelt so they could create more supply. I did a video on the Greenbelt for you guys, driving through, showing you guys the Greenbelt, where it's located, up on Dundas Street there, way up there. And they will create more supply. But let's get to these stories and see what's happening. Before they even decide to open up a project like that, they better look at what's going on. Time for your weekly cheat sheet on this week's most important stories, guys. Sit back, relax. Better Dwelling is going to be co-hosting with us with these articles. CMHC, 55 points. Let's get to the article. CMHC, 55 points of Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers were in bidding wars. Do you know what that... Guys, do you know what that means? Do you even have a clue what that comprehension of exactly what that means? I'll tell you what that means. You overpaid for your house. You're getting into a bidding war with the amount of houses around you for sale. You overpaid. You understand? You're not buying the Mona Lisa. You're not buying the Eiffel Tower. You're not buying the RMS Titanic. You're not in some buying one of a kind. You know, oh, this is Mick Jagger's pen, used by Mick Jagger, certified. Let's start bidding on it. Who wants to start the bidding? That's different because this is the only pen I can find. You know what I'm saying? There's a million houses for sale. Why are people bidding on houses? You overpaid for your house if you bidded. Yeah or nay? Am I right or wrong? If you bid on your house, you overpaid. Happy Canada Day, by the way. 55 points. Okay, 13%, 17%. 55 points? Have you ever woke up after a night of drinking and the only vague recollection of what happened? Then your responsible friend sets off a chain of text messages trying to figure out where you went wrong? Well, that's the Canadian real estate industry just did. And man, oh man, did people screw up. The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, the Crown Corporation in charge of the mortgage liquidity, conducted a massive survey of recent buyers in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Well, they threw Montreal in there, okay. They put Montreal in there to bring down the averages. You know that, right? After getting drunk on exuberance, buyers indulging in a little too much borrowing, blaming everything from land scarcity to foreign buyers and the scratched out street fights, bidding wars they entered. About the survey, the CMHC designed a massive survey to try to figure out where buyer exuberance started. Buyers in Toronto and Vancouver saw a quick rise in home prices and adopted excessive expectations of price growth to determine where the disconnect between fundamentals and price growth started. They took a novel approach. They asked buyers of 30,000 recent buyers were sent surveys asking questions ranging from their budgets were to why they didn't stick to their budget. Very important, people. The majority of price movements were driven by exuberance in Toronto and Vancouver. Yes, fundamentals played a part, but a small part. Instead, the survey focuses on finding out which data points buyers felt drove their FOMO, fear of buying out, whatever you call it. The fear of being locked out is always a powerful motivator, which tends to amplify the read on fundamentals. Now, issues like foreign buyers are important and need to be tracked and dealt with. However, no one forced anyone to buy in a small window of exuberance. The homeowner life didn't choose these buyers. Buyers choose the homeowner life. Despite what you may have heard, not all renters are poor and struggling to eat. Actually, a surprising number of bank executives are now renters. But I digress. Let's find out what these people were thinking. 55% of Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers entered a bidding war. This one's really good here. First up, CMHC found that users' rule of thumb mechanisms to determine home prices. It's a hot market. I can't miss out. You know, when you're sitting at those parties and everyone's like, yeah, I got a condo, yeah, Stratophys, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Okay. And it's really tight right now. Our phrases, analytics cited examples of this mechanism. According to CMHC, these were phrases pushing homeowners to overvalue an estimate. FOMO helps to build an overcorrection to data, which resulted in lack of self-control. The best example of this is buyers' willingness to engage in a bidding war. So again, guys, how can I explain this? Let's do the Scirocco, the Volkswagen Scirocco. Buddy's got a 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco vehicle. Okay, let's bring up the 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. I can't even spell Scirocco. There we go. Let's go to images. So here you go. This is your 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. And it's valued at $700. You come over and take a look at it. Okay, 82 Volkswagen Scirocco, 43K on it, says right there. That's not bad. 82 Volkswagen Scirocco, $700. And then someone else joins you on the street and says, whoa, 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 there's a for sale sign on this car. What's it worth? Well, he's asking $700. Man, I want that Volkswagen Scirocco. I'm willing to pay $1,000 for it. But wait a minute, sir. The car's only book valued at $700. You're paying $1,000 for it? And then another woman passes by, sees the for sale sign, gets out of her vehicle, looks at it. Whoa! What's going on with this Volkswagen Scirocco? 82. Well, sir, it's for sale for $700. Well, this guy is offering $1,000. And the lady says, I'll give him $1,500 for it. Walks up to the door, knocks on the door. Sir, we're looking at your car outside. We're looking at this, and we want to bid on your car. So now people are pulling over at this 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco with a for sale sign on it. And the ninth person walks up and says, hold on a second. I'm putting this on Craigslist. I got to get people down here to see this 82 Volkswagen Scirocco. So the asking price of it was $700, and the owner was willing to give it away for $700. And now somebody's up there, and they're saying, hey, I'm willing to give you $7,000 for it. Hey, that's like 10 times the value I was asking. Okay, sold for $7,000. But that's what people are doing with homes. They're paying $7,000 for a car that's worth $700, 10 times over the price, for a 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. And if I put that on Craigslist for $7,000, I'd probably get a lot of people destroying me or email me telling me I'm smoking something. But that's what people are doing with houses. Everyone's coming in the comment section. Good night, everybody. So let's go back to where I was here. Okay. A majority of the buyers entered a bidding war in Toronto and Vancouver. 55% of surveys responded in both cities that they entered a bidding war to buy their current home. To contrast, just 17% of Montreal buyers experienced a bidding war. So they added Montreal to the list here only to bring down the average. So, back to the top. 55% of people overpaid for their homes. Overpaid. I'm telling you guys. Let's keep going. Now, 55% of Toronto, Vancouver real estate buyers entered a bidding war. Did I read this? Yeah, I read this. Okay. The discipline was not strong with these ones. So the force was weak in these ones. They just turned to the dark side with FOMO. Buyers that accelerated their buy tended to break their budget according to CMHC. Vancouver saw 47.91% of buyers pay more than they had planned. What are you doing? Toronto saw the similar with 47.799% of the buyers. Look how close that is to each other. Paying more than budget. To contrast, Montreal saw only 23.67% of buyers pay more than they budgeted. FOMO was primary driver of breaching. So people worried, oh, people buying homes for their kids already. How old's your kid? 7 years old. Why are you buying them a house for? It's a market. It's going to go down. It's going to go up. It's a roller coaster. With most of these homeowners buying sooner or later than expected, CMHC analysts believe that these that bought sooner likely lacked market information, pushing budgets higher. Those that bought later couldn't find what they wanted in their budget, driving them to an upward budget revision. Whew. Look at that. CMHC surveys recent budgets and whether they stuck them up. There it is. Less than, budgeted, more than. Wow. No budget. Very little market for these no budgets. And then less than budget. So when you're seeing some of this, that's Montreal. That's got to be, yeah, that's Montreal. Okay. That has to be Montreal. And there's Montreal right there, and that's Montreal. Okay, yeah, it has to be. There's no way. Look how budgeted it is, and then more than. Look at that. So more than budget was 23.67% of people in Montreal paid more. But look at that. Wow. And then no budget. These should be right here. This probably could be for an investment right here. Ah, there's no budget. Just buy whatever it is. Who cares? And then the foreign buyers made me do it. Oh, no. If Canadian real estate markets had a phrase of the year, foreign buyer would have been it in 2017. In Vancouver, 67.8% of buyers said foreign buyers had a lot of influence on home prices. Toronto was a little further behind, not much to that, 47.88%. To contrast, 42.31% of Montreal buyers felt foreign buyers had a strong influence. Foreign buying is actually a part of development strategy in cities like Vancouver, but they always tend to show up in droves when local credit expands, just like the late 1980s. Funny how that works. Perceived impact of foreign buyers. So there's some, this is what people perceive, okay? None, a little, some, a lot. So, who needs a job when you've got credits? Employment growth is normally an important fundamental factor, but buyers didn't agree. In Vancouver, only 17.03% of buyers felt it had a lot of influence. Toronto, buyers felt a little more important. So this is who needs a job when you have good credit, right? 26.24% people thought it had a lot of influence. To contrast, 35.05% of Montreal buyers felt it had a lot of influence on home prices. The bulk respondents in the cities had some influence on prices. Perceived impact on employment growth on prices. Some, a lot, so none. Vancouver, obviously. Some, and a lot would be employers. The employers would be seeing this kind of getting the right employees into the city, especially with employees leaving. Yeah, so everyone's in the comment section. Someone's saying Lamborghini prices for a Volkswagen Scirocco. That's exactly what it is. Let's look at this 1982 Volkswagen Scirocco. So you're going to pay Lamborghini price for that? That's exactly what people are doing. And I don't know if it's because I'm severely delusional or I'm living in a different parallel universe than the rest of the world and everyone sees this as normal and I'm on the outside in a different dimension looking in and saying, what's going on? Like, am I severely delusional? And what am I seeing here? Let's keep going. Canadian real estate, CMHC. Oh, back. Sorry. Pow. There's too many people. That's what a lot of people say. None of these locations are growing like they used to. But population growth was still a perceived factor. Guys, I'm going to Vancouver tomorrow. I'll do a street of downtown. Hey, Canada Day weekend, Monday holiday. All the banks are closed. I'm going to go on small streets where you should have children playing and families barbecuing. They're going to see it dead as a post. Okay, none of these locations are growing like they used to, but population growth was still perceived a factor. Toronto had 54.56% of respondents claim population growth had a lot of influence on prices. Vancouver came just under that, 51.39% of buyers feeling the same way. Montreal had 38.94 points of buyers that felt the population growth had a lot of influence on prices. For context, Montreal has the fastest growing population of the three regions. I could see that. A lot of people exodusing the bigger cities and moving north to Montreal and Quebec, or Quebec City. So this is a lot of people. This is what people saw. None, a little, some people believed it, and a lot. So, we're running out of land! We are running out of land! That's another fear of buying out. My favorite narrative, we're running out of land, aka land scarcity. Vancouver had the most buyers that felt the scarcity had a lot of influence. 52.94% of buyers are agreeing. In Toronto, a lot dropped, 44.22% of buyers. Montreal, which is under that, 43.06% of buyers agreeing it had a lot of influence. So this is what people believe. A lot of people believed that it had a lot to do with scarce land. Oh my god, you know how many hundreds of millions of square miles Canada is? Oh my god. Walking Journey just joined us in the comment section. Don't forget, he might go live after my transmission to make sure you check out the Walking Journey. He's a two-time world champ. Those darn rich locals. Woo, is it the darn rich locals? Locals seem to underestimate the impact of domestic investors in all regions. Toronto had a high ratio of people felt they had a strong influence at 48.11% of buyers. In Vancouver, the number dropped to 46.33% of buyers feeling they had a lot of influence. Montreal had only 25.9% of buyers that felt domestic investors were a contributor to prices. And when we say by domestic investors, boomers buying houses for their kids, boomers taking out equity lines of mortgages, buying houses for friends, and all kinds of stuff, and buying more properties and renting them out. And that agents in Vancouver are sometimes paid with condos. Oh, well, another article for another day. Perceived impact of domestic investors on prices. So domestic investors, high. It's all high. These factors did contribute to higher prices. So this FOMO, fear of buying out, this whole bubble that was built, this whole illusion that was built that made people believe that if we don't buy now, we will be bought out forever. It's called, if you're bought out forever, pick up your stuff and move somewhere else. Like I did. I'm not paying $2 million for the same house in downtown Detroit is worth friggin' $5,000. I'm sorry. Because I'm saying the house is a teardown that I'm looking at in Vancouver. And the same house, the teardown in downtown Detroit, I get it for next to nothing, for the price of a good pair of shoes. So, okay, these factors did contribute to higher prices, but buyers added emotional premiums. During the peak of the real estate cycle, buyers will always become exuberant as prices accelerate. Speculators, both international and domestic, can usually smell the blood and begin circling. Did people line up, and are foreign buyers accumulating massive portfolios of homes? Or were the people paid to stand in line for the condo assignments, with employees posing as mainland Chinese buyers? Probably a little bit of both. However, it often doesn't matter if narrative is true or not. It just matters if you're willing to max out your credit. As my favorite real estate agent once posted on her Instagram, anything is possible if you believe. It is. So, someone's asking if phone lines are open today. No, not today. I don't feel like I want to go through some of these articles because Today we are doing WTF, what's going on with Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers today. So that's our CMHC story. Really good story I covered. 55% of Toronto and Vancouver real estate buyers paid more than what the houses were worth. Picture buying a pair of socks. Oh, I'm going to buy a 6-pack of socks. Oh, it's on sale for $7. Actually, you know what? I actually want to pay $50 for these socks because I think they're worth more than what I'm... Okay. Let's move on. Equifax. Canadian households are already having trouble dealing with credit. So guys, let me explain something to you. Auto loan, line of credits, Sears card, Canadian Liars card, Visa, MasterCard. That's a blended interest rate. And I don't know if anyone had the balls to put up a blended interest rate calculator online for free. Like, I'm not sure if they exist, but there's a mathematical system that sets up a blended interest rate to explain to you realistically, proportionately, what your balances are. Because this is in the finance industry, we have these tools, right? I don't know if it's a public tool yet. It took them forever to do a TDS calculator for free so people could calculate their TDS, their total debt service ratio. That took forever. Now, I want them to create some sort of a blended rate calculator for the public to enter all their Visa, their MasterCard, their line of credit, their auto loan, their anything they're paying interest on. And this creates a calculation of your blended rate. Because a lot of people, you know, oh, I'm getting 7% on my line of credit. Yeah, I got a CHB, whatever card, it's 18%. And then my Visa's only 9%. And then I got a Canadian Liars card, it's 29.95%. Then I got a Wells Fargo one. Then I got this. And then you get a blended rate. And it breaks it down to percentages with balances owing. And it gives you this formula. And I've seen some people on a blended rate, because they have such high interest on some cards, with the revolving debt, they're paying upwards from 27% to up to 38% interest. When you take the revolving debt with the blended rate you're paying, and it gives you a calculator, it's almost like a little funnel. It shows you, breaks down your debt, and then gives you one interest payment of what you're paying. And the blended rate with the revolving debts is what kills you the most. You know, so this is not, they don't want you to know this kind of stuff, and I don't know why. Oh, Walking Journey says, I have an American Express card. The only card I use, I have a 9.99% APR, so that's 10%. So on $1,000, you're paying basically $10 a month interest. On $10,000, you're paying $100 a month in interest. So that's roughly what you'd be paying, right? So let's bring this down. Let's see what's going on. One of the world's largest credit agency is nothing credit exhaustion at Canada's household Equifax. And there's also First Canadian that also does credit reports. Is seeing a declined number of Canadians paying off balances on their credit cards. Horrible. Total nothing burger to most. But it's actually really interesting interesting to credit cards. Credit nerds, sorry. Carrying a balance increases the odds of credit delinquencies after down the road. Consequently, the agency believes they'll be seeing a modest increase in delinquency soon. Aki who says what? Why should you care? The credit cycle is an important aspect to the business cycle. And therefore, asset prices, when credit exists and expansion phase, it moves into the downturn phase. Equifax is one of the world's largest credit agencies, is particularly well positioned to see the signs of slowing credit growth and early signs of downturn. A downturn doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. However, unemployment rises and financing of large assets like homes slows. Typically, this is when big business begins to note the signs and prepare for downturn. Oh, no. Who could have predicted this? Well, organizations like Equifax could do a good job. Lucky for us, they're willing to share their observations on a potential flag. So it's raising a red flag. Lowest levels of delinquency since the Great Recession. Currently, things are looking pretty good on the surface. The number of 90-day delinquency has dropped 1% across Canada. That's when you get an R9 on your thing, and then it gets sent to collections. Down 1.15% from 27. Regina Milani, director of Decision Insights of Equifax Canada, noted overall credit performance in Canada remains incredibly strong, and credit had returned to healthier, more sustainable levels. This is the lowest levels Canada has seen since 2009, which sounds fantastic, but always a catch. Typically, when good things have peaked, there's some more potential of a downside than an upside. Here's the problem. So let's look at the side effects, people. The percentage of non-mortgage credit delinquency occurred in Canada by region Q1 of 2018. So here it is. So it's a pretty low percentage of people with R9s on their credits. Canadian households feel the pinch of higher interest rates. Data from credit agencies shows less Canadians are paying off their balances in full. The number of households paying off a full balance in their credit card peaks at 59% since June of 2017. The month before an interest rate hike, the number has since tapered, down 56% at the end of March of 2018, a 5% decline. Malia commented, the proportion of consumers paying their credit card balances in full each month has dropped recently. As unemployment holds at current levels and interest rates are likely to rise, with suspected delinquency rates to move modestly higher by year end. Canadians that pay off their credit card. There's the hike. Kaboom. So percentage rates are moving. Carrying a balance is a warning flag. Households that carry a balance are more likely to miss future payments entirely. People that regularly pay their balance in full represent less than 10% of the people miss 2 or more payments. To contrast, those that normally make the minimum payment represent over 50% of those who miss 2 or more payments. As more households begin to stop paying their cards in full, the odds of more delinquency increases. So this is customers that miss payments, customers that miss 2 or more payments based on how much their balance is typically what they pay. So this is in full here. So you're looking at minimum payments. The Bank of Canada expects 6 to 12 month lag on the full impact. So this is a very premature article. The numbers are very premature right now. So remember, there is also an aggregate that's there. So we got to factor in all the equation, right? Interest rate hikes, that means we may not have even seen the full impact of the mild hikes over the past year, despite the Bank of Canada expects the economy to push in neutral policy rate, which will somewhere be 2 to 3%. So better dwelling. Let's move on. Canadian Real Estate Association lower sales forecast declines rise over 50 points. Let's get into this one, people. Canadian Real Estate Association lowers sales forecast declines over 50 points. I'm seeing a ton of product on the market. A lot of people are realizing the condos that they moved into weren't built to be lived in. I'm hearing horror stories from people. Wait a minute, this condo wasn't meant to be lived in? No, it was meant for you to buy and hold on to it. That's what a lot, and right now, as we are speaking, in China, the stock market is collapsing. It's under fire right now. And the amount of condos that are unlivable in mainland China is just phenomenal. And let's keep going here. Canadian Real Estate Association lower sales forecast. So, guys, you know, for a lot of people, I wish a lot of people, especially the millennials today, I really wish they could know that they hear stories. Stories are one thing, but feeling and being somewhere is different. I just wish people could see Canada what it was 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. Canada was a different blueprint. Canada was in a different direction 30 years ago. Canada was very... It was different. 20, 30 years ago, it was just a different fabric. It was a different... It was different expectations at the time. People were more modest. People spoke to each other. Heck, people loved each other then. It was more of that kind of... I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, it's one thing to explain, to read, to understand on, you know, take it in on paper, and it's a different feeling when you're there and feeling it, you know. I had a discussion with a friend today at one of this party. I'll put up a video of this Filipino house party I went to. Log cabin out in the country. You got to see the views. Imagine being in Manhattan at the turn of the century, watching the people alive, looking forward to the new century, the industry booming, the Sears, the towers going up everywhere, Rockefeller Center. It's just in New York, the bustling, the horse and carriages everywhere, them putting those rail lines for those streetcars at the time, because they're finally getting streetcars at the turn of the century. Just watching New York unfolding in front of you, feeling the life around you, feeling hope everywhere. You know, it's different. You know, as I die off and our generation starts dying off, the immigrants from the 80s start dying off, I'm trying hard to leave a legacy for my kids. Something for my kids to understand. What, you know, that's why I moved to a small town. To give my kids a feeling of real Canadian lifestyle. A real Canadian feeling. The Canada I grew up in. I really want to give that to my kids, you know. Unfortunately, for all the millennials and younger people out there, they'll never know what Canada really was, you know. And Ronald Reagan says that fascism will come in a form of liberalism. And Ronald Reagan was right. And that speech he did, I remember that speech. I remember seeing that speech. I think it was in just after Jimmy Carter, and then Ronald Reagan came in, right? I think I was in grade 5 or grade 4 when he said that speech. I still remember it. That fascism will come in the form of liberalism. And Canada's changed so much. And I really feel for the people that don't know the Canada I did. My dad knows it. My mom knows it. You know. My wife doesn't know it. She came from the Philippines 6 years ago, worked her behind off, did all the paperwork, paid her dues, or paid her taxes, you know? And now she's living the dream with me. She's seeing the Canada that I grew up in, the small town. Hi, neighbor. Hey, what's going on? Hey, it's my stalker. You know, at my little shop, people coming in. Hey, Mike, how's it going? How's your grandma doing? I heard you went to Toronto to see her. That's great. When are you going to do some house projects? I'll help you out, you know? People waving from their cars all the time. I had maybe 50 people. I went to a party today in the park, Rotary Park, Canada Day party. I have people coming to me and saying, oh, Mike, I'm really sorry about Portugal losing. It's okay, man. It's just soccer. Who cares? I had like 50 people come up to me. Hey, I didn't recognize you, Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry about Portugal. I was watching the game. I was thinking about you. I'm like, really? Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you. You know? Oh, sorry about Portugal. They played well. Who cares? I don't care. I actually care that somebody actually thought of me. That means more to me. You know what I'm saying? And then someone says, time to hit the reset button. And then Kevin saying tariffs are a form of tax in the comment section, by the way. Canada no longer has an identity. You know, let me tell you something. I lived in Mexico for 2 years. And I didn't go there to hate Mexicans. I didn't go there to despise their way of life. I didn't go there to judge the Mexicans. When I went to Mexico, I was Mexican. I learned the Spanish Mexican. When people talk to me, even Spanish, so, hey, todo bien? Hey, ¿cómo estás, carnal? Sí, mira, me voy a casa de chicharrón. Vamos a buscar algo para comer, güey. Tengo hambre, güey. Después, su madre se llegó muy temprano. And then I became Mexican. The food, the spicy food, the women, the tequila, the culture, the Day of the Dead culture, a whole week of Day of the Dead, you know, for a whole week. I became, you know, I there were months would go by I wouldn't even speak English. I understand the Mexican culture now. I'm Mexican. I understand everything around me. You know what I'm saying? Mexico Day in September, we celebrated. You know what I'm saying? They don't do Cinco de Mayo there. It was Mexico Day, and I think September something. And September. I think it was September. And it was great. I understood. And it's like when I came to Canada, when the family came to Canada, to Toronto, it was the same thing. It was the Canadian lifestyle. The Canadian way. It was more British way. The more proper. The more a certain level of class. You know? In the early 80s, it was a certain level of class. You wouldn't see a guy. The average guy would always be wearing a shirt and tie no matter what. Even the blue-collar workers would be dressed nice on the weekends, and everybody would always have their beards trimmed. A lot of guys had long hair at the time. It was the style, you know, but the whole Canadian thing in the 80s was, because that's what I remember, right, it was so different. It was a different look on life, you know? You know, it's, someone says, working on it, my girl there from Alberta saying, what's the dream? And then Kevin Thompson jumps in and saying, being debt-free. Being debt-free is good because it allows you to manage your disposable income in different ways you could ever imagine. Someone says 1913 is USA. Canada was later, like 1950s or 1960s. And that's the beginning of my story of the turn of the century. Kevin Thompson says, he says he works the first 6 months of the year to pay taxes. In the 70s, from Brian, I'm going to get Brian on the show, older Brian from the Legion. He's in his late 60s. And he told me that he said it was March 22nd or March 21st was tax day. So basically, January, February, March, you worked for the government. Basically, that's in dues of taxes. Then the rest of the year, the rest of the 9 months was all free. It was all your money. You know, he said he's going to explain it. I'm going to get Brian on the show to explain the debt, how taxation worked. And it was basically, he said March 22nd was debt day or something, or March 20, I can't remember. I'll get him on the show. He'll explain it exactly how he told me and how it used to be. You know. And the 80s was high interest and inflation and savers economy. A savers economy, yep. But it was different, guys. It was a lifestyle that... But it's so different. You know, you could read about it. I mean, I could pass my stories on to the next generation about what Canada was when we got here. But it's changed in a way where... It's changing to a dark side, if you want a different dark side, where if you say something about it, you're considered a racist or something. And I'm not talking about immigration either. I mean, you're a racist if you like cheese on your hamburgers, I read the other day. You're a racist if you like to cut your grass on Sundays. It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's get to Canadian real estate here. Canadian Real Estate Association lowers sales forecast, has declines for 50%. Just from June 25th, the Canadian real estate industry has become a little bearish. The Canadian Real Estate Association, CREA, the trade association representing the country's agent, has revised their 2018 and 2019 sales forecast. The organization now sees sales falling even further this year than they did during the prior forecast. Declines are now expected to be over 50% higher than previously expected. Canadian real estate sales forecasted to drop 11% in 2018. Canadian real estate sales are on the slide. The CREA is finally acknowledging it. Yay! The industry now expects Canadian real estate sales to fall 459,900 units in 2018, 11% decline from last year. In 2019, they expect sales to move slightly higher to 479,000, a 3.2% increase from the year's forecast. However, sales numbers in 2019 will still be 3.96% lower in 2018. So here it is, people. So here are the drops. So here's the revised, 2018 revised. So this is where they're forecasting here. Look at PEI. If the climate was a bit warmer in PEI, let's say they got 6 months of good weather, PEI would be a place I would look. It's closer to Portugal, so if I need to fly over, it's closer. CRE, better lying. To contrast, in March, they were much more optimistic. Canadian real estate sales were previously expected to fall 479,400 in 2018, a decline of 7.1% in 2019. They had previously expected sales at 496,500, 3.6% higher than their 2018% forecast. We did a point of during the previous forecast that decline should be closer to 12%. It's nice to see them finally catch up. Here's the revision. Here's the 2018 sales forecast change. There's Alberta, of course, in the declines. Quebec and PEI. Sorry, in the pluses. I'm sorry, guys. I'm reading this backwards. Pluses are here. So obviously the cheaper provinces won't see major decline in sales. You'll see BC, it's Canada. So this is Canada across the board. So you get places like Alberta, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and PEI bring down the national average, of course. So that's why it looks so kind of not that low, but when you break it down by province, you could realistically see right here where it's going down, right here in Ontario. So these two are bringing down the national average big time, Ontario and British Columbia. Ontario real estate forecast to see over 35,000 fewer sales in 2018. Ontario real estate sales expected to drop by the most number of units in 2018. CREA is now forecasting 187,000 sales in 2018, a 15.9% decline from 2017. Sales are expected to rise 198,800 in 2019, an increase of 6.2% from 2018 forecast, although 2019 is still expected to be 10.65% lower than 2017. At this time, the forecast likely isn't modeling any changes to employment due to changes to minimum wage or full employment. British Columbia real estate sales forecasted to drop over 17 points. The largest ratio of sales expected to decline in British Columbia, CREA, is forecasting $85,400 in sales. 2018, 17.7% decline from the last year. At 2019, they expect sales to increase 88,200, 3.3% increase. So this is what they're expecting, and this is great expectations, right? Like Charles Dickens would say. And it's a tale of two cities. Look at that. Sales in 2019 are still expected to be 14.99% slower than 2019 sales. Quebec real estate sales forecasted to rise over 3 points. Who cares? Alberta sales forecasted to drop almost 8%. And that's it, people. Let's go to there's the Scirocco. So you're going to play Lamborghini price for a Volkswagen Scirocco. You're out of your tree. Look at that one right there. Soup it up. Put a system in there. So, Kevin Thompson. What is the average income in New Brunswick? I think it's 43,000. Is the or 41,000, I think. Kevin Thompson saying condos are coming down. And then JW, or condos are a death trap right now. Let's look up some condo fees crap. Condo fees ripoff. You notice how it doesn't finish it off? For me, condo fees ripoff. Let's check this out. This has been flagged a few times. Why condo fees are a ripoff? Okay, then there's that. Are condo fees a total ripoff? No, I want to know why they are a ripoff. I know they are. I don't need to know if they are. Condo fees. Dude, you know, if I was Alphonse Capone in the 1930s, I'm not kidding. I would have built condos and started charging condo fees on them. Sell them cheap so you can get them sold, or get families moving in and look like the hero, and then just charge strata fees. And then if something breaks down, take 3 years to go out there to see the problem, and then take another 3 years to see if it should be fixed, and then take another 3 years to see if it should be fixed. You know what I'm saying? If you make $10K a year in New Brunswick, about the level for someone making $100K in Vancouver, compared to housing prices in each place. Yes, buying power. Okay? Buying power is very important. I talked to a nurse who moved to Sarasota, Florida, and she's making $3,000 less a year in Sarasota, Florida, but she ended up buying a house for $145,000, 3 times the size of the hole she called it a hole she lived in. 3 times the size, and she has benefits, and she has healthcare covered, with also medication covered too. Like, her medication's covered, so if something happens, her medication's covered up to, I think it's like $400 a month in coverage. So yeah, let's find out why condo fees are crazy. What's reasonable rate? I know people that are paying for condo fees. Question: am I looking to buying downtown condo but Those fees are crazy. What do you consider reasonable? So let's see what people are paying. 50 cents per square foot. Some units are paying anywhere from 700 to 8 bills. 8 bills, $800 per month for 1,000 square feet for condo fees. Mind you, you got property tax on top of that for your box in the sky. Richie Cunningham is in the comment section. Warehouse, factory jobs, and other jobs, yes, but also good for online work. And then Kevin Thompson is mortgage, millions of profit if you know what you're doing. Oh, there's a sea of money to make out there. Believe me, there is so much money to make out there. The problem is people are turning to greed and turning a blind eye and going against morals, going against regulations, going against laws, going against just destroying their own soul. People, and like I noticed in the big cities, a lot of people don't have a soul anymore. I noticed that. I'm not ragging on people living in big cities, but just don't notice people having souls anymore. So Dale is saying, how's your veggie patch? Oh, it's going good. I'll do a video of it maybe next week of my garden in the back. So $700 to $800 per month for units. Building age become factor in condo fees. Older buildings require more repairs in general, along with modernization of common areas. When I lived in Vancouver, in the condo I lived in Vancouver, the average person was paying about $700 to $1,000 in condo fees, and they had one person working a 40-hour week cleaning. That's all they did. They vacuum every floor, they wipe the elevator down, they wash the floors, they keep it clean, right? But one 40-hour person, and then the average, so basically 3 units of the 300 units would pay for that one person to work their 40-hour week. Would pay for the month. Would pay for their month, 3 units. Yeah. Dylan Lopez, happy Canada Day. Yes, true north, strong and free. God keep our land glorious and free. If you're just tuning into the show, scroll back to the beginning. So Kevin Thompson's talking about taking a second mortgage on the house at 3.45% and use the money to invest at 8 to 10% return. Slightly risky, but it's there. Don't recommend it. I just don't recommend going into debt at all. So condo fees, are they a scam? I want to get some condo story fees. 5 things you didn't know about condo fees. Let's see what we don't know about condo fees. 1, they're not all that bad. 2, lower isn't always better. Oh, this is pro. This is pro. 1, they're not all... Oh, so Yahoo just copied the article, which was pretty cute. And that's that. Let's go to my channel, guys. I want to show you guys my channel here. I want to show you guys something. Somebody wrote a comment on here. Ooh, I'm live now. Somebody wrote a comment on my channel, Mike in the Night, that I want to share with you guys about the housing thing that's going on here. Where was it? Let me go into here. I think it's... yeah, okay, right. This one right here.
Hey, YouTubers.
Hey, YouTubers. Political divide, mental illness. This one right here. It's by Margaret O'Brien, longtime subscriber. I think I'm her friend on Facebook, too. Mike, your brain is the brain of a dyslexic. I can't read that. You see what others do not. Also, people who have learning difficulties are not so easily led. they have always been outside the herd and quite often see what other cannot. You have helped a lot of people with your observation and news about housing. I don't know what is going to happen in the United States of America. The inspectors of the general report, even though it was heavily edited, show the rampant collusion to unseat the duly elected president. And the investigation continues. The exposure of the treason will be inevitable. This drama of the illegal immigrants is, in my opinion, their last chance. They have to whip up enough drama to keep the public's eyes off the criminals. And hope some nutter can assassinate Trump before it gets all revealed. The only other trick they can play is to collapse the economy. As it is on a knife's edge, that will not be hard to do. However, I feel they want to wait until winter to do that, to get the maximum death toll. I am scared of living over here in New Zealand. Don't know how the U.S. citizens and Canadians are coping with it. I pray that sanity and the walk-away movement prevails. So, I wanted to read that there. I don't want to get off topic because my video will just get flagged. I don't want to get off topic. So guys, these are this week's stories for Toronto and Vancouver. I'm going to sign out. It's been an hour and 1 minute. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Share this out there, guys. Please get my videos out there because YouTube is actually thinking of doing a 2-tier system now, coming in January or February. So if you have less than 5,000 subscribers, they put you in a secondary tier now, where I don't know if it's you don't get out there type of thing anymore. I think they're sending it up where the more newer, like non-mainstream people will have more difficulties getting their stuff shared. So if I'm over 5,000 subs, that apparently for this tier system that's been rumored to go around, puts you in a different category, which is a bit better. And yeah, I kind of, I just don't want to lose the ability to talk to you guys. And I got my projects coming up. I want to do I want to build a room in my backyard. I want to tear down my shed, and I want to put a nice office back there. And I want to design it online and with my wife. And we want to put a nice, like, 18 by 14 office, 1 story. And I want to solar panel it, and I want to do the process with you guys and show you guys kind of, something a little bit off-grid. It won't have any water. It won't have water. I don't want running water in it. I just want to keep it really basic. Some nicely insulated windows, nice electric baseboard heaters. And I want to run this office outside because I want to use this room for something else. So, and then we're going to use another room. I'm going to build a sauna in the house, a nice sauna, like a professional sauna with the proper heating devices. I don't want that crap with the wall heaters and crap. I want to do a nice sauna. And I want to get a few things done around the house this winter. I know I've been holding it back because I've been working on the business downtown, in downtown Merritt. So I've been working on that, which is doing really well. I'm very surprised at some of the good sales I've been making. But someone's saying we need 900 more subs. That's not that hard. All you have to do is just share my crap and just say, hey guys, take a look at this guy. He can't read, and he's I had a lot of people when I went to Toronto, a lot of my fans that I've met, that told me that I've helped a lot of people out. Like, literally really helped a lot and opened people's eyes into kind of looking outside the box for once and not being part of the herd. And kind of maybe taking a step back and saying, this house or this condo or this townhouse is the most important asset I'll ever buy in my life. Do I drink the Kool-Aid and join the party? Or do I maybe take a step back and reanalyze my finances and find out really what is going on underlying? You know what I'm saying? People are commenting. Yeah, June housing numbers should be published by the 3rd. So 3rd or 4th of July, guys. Got trends in the housing market coming up. Someone saying, would housing be affordable at the bottom? Oh, yeah. Unless you get a drop in wages. I don't think so. So if wages don't go down, then you might see affordability start creeping up and the market's coming back to normal. Because if the middle class doesn't buy, or the working poor doesn't buy, the market just plateaus. It just doesn't go anywhere anymore. It's gotten to a place where the people that wanted to upgrade sold and bought, and the people who wanted to downgrade sold and bought. And the smart people that sold at a ridiculous price and left the country are the ones in Costa Rica living a nice secluded life by a waterfall, or moved to Sarasota, Florida and bought a nice little place outside, you know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Get my stuff out there. Share it. And I'm not a big deal online. I don't want to be a big deal online. I just want people to have the option to understand that there is other options out there than drinking the Kool-Aid at the party and joining the party that maybe they shouldn't be. Comment below. Thanks for watching, guys.